Chair and Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm here to speak on 37 bills that you're asking. I'm going to speak in favor of two pieces of legislation. One is bill number 1479. Many of you remember the passage of the so-called transgender bill, and I think the reason that I'm testifying today is I think clearly you've heard different testimonies, and one of the things that is clear is that the implementation of the bill is inconsistent with the legislature's intent. We had a meeting with Commissioner Chester, and we had sent him a letter in July of last year asking to be part of the process to make sure that the bill was put into place consistent with our intent. That letter was sent on July 30th, 2012. We made numerous requests to Mr. Chester asking to meet with him. As I said, 25% of the legislature signed the letter. We never heard from Commissioner Chester until after the guidelines were put in place. And one has to simply look at the guidelines to recognize that the Commissioner is not protecting all of the children who attend our public schools. In the second paragraph, it says all students in a safe and supportive school environment to progress academically and developmentally. This guidance is intended to help schools and school districts take steps to create a culture in which transgender and gender non-conforming students feel safe, supported, and fully included. During our discussions with Commissioner Chester, we asked him if he thought about the folks, the young children who are not transgender. And he seemed very perplexed by our question. And the question was very simple. A middle school, sixth grader in the ladies' room, in the girls' room, and a 16-year-old male comes into the ladies' room. And we asked, do you think that would have any impact on this little sixth grader? And he said, yes. And the question was, well, did you consider that? Did you consider the impact that the way the law is being implemented based on your guidelines, that a 15-and-a-half-year-old, 8th grader could come to school in the morning, leave his house as an anatomical male, and walk in the front door and decide, based on their regulations, that he now was a female? And he said, no. And I said, at the very least, you should have thought about it. Shouldn't we think about protecting all of our children? Now, the question wasn't posed in any fashion to suggest that anybody would do anything wrong. It was a simple question about a 15-and-a-half-year-old man. And what we have in this law, and the way that it is being implemented, is that there is no threshold medical or mental health diagnosis or treatment requirement that any student must meet in order to have his or her gender identity recognized and respected by a school. It would seem to me that, at the very least, parents should feel comfortable that when they send their children to school, that anatomical males would go to the boys' bathroom, and anatomical females would go to the girls' bathroom. Now, I know, that might sound old-fashioned, but to me, it seems that it's strictly common sense. And the question I asked in 2011 when I testified is really, what are we doing? What are we doing? What kind of regulations are we putting in place on the common law and on our students? And when I saw these guidelines that came out from the Commissioner of Education, I said, clearly, either I don't get it, or Commissioner Chester doesn't get it. Some students may feel uncomfortable with a transgender student using the same-sex segregated restroom, locker room, or changing facility. This discomfort is not a reason to deny access to the transgender student. School administrators and counseling staff should work with students to address discomfort and to foster understanding of gender identity to create a culture that respects and values all students. Now I go back to the original example of that little. Yes, I mentioned that at the beginning. 1479, an act to repeal distinction. And also in opposition to like the so-called act. So clearly, when we have this kind of confusion coming out of the Commissioner of Education's guidelines, I think what it speaks to is the problems that we all recognized, back when that bill was passed. That there was going to be confusion, and now we're seeing, and what is going to take place, as I've been listening to, is that we are going to add further regulations on different businesses in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I think that's something that we should recognize, that there is a cost associated with legislation, and the intent of the legislature certainly is not being followed by the Commissioner of Education.